Hi guys, my name is Mary. I would also like to present you my kitten Lyra. He's a full breed Maine Coon, and I have another one that you may or may not see in my video. I am about to have a double jaw surgery in the UK, in London, and I've been in the compensation process for the last 6 months, preparing my teeth and my mouth for the double jaw surgery. And I have personally found this journey really stressful, really confusing, and I felt alone in it, you know? It was a really difficult process for me to go through. There were so many questions that needed answers. I didn't know where to go, where to start, what to do, all that stuff. That was really frustrating. It really was, and it still is, and I'm yet to have a jaw surgery. I've been having so many difficulties finding surgeons, finding the right surgeon, getting the orthodontics right, getting the communication between the surgeon and orthodontist correct as well, trying to decide on what type of surgery I need, whether it should be a single or double, all that stuff. So I'd like to basically cover my experience so far. As you may see, my case is very borderline moderate. I'm doing my best with head tilting and with my hair to basically make it hidden and camouflage it really well. That, coupled with the camouflage orthodontic work that was done when I was a teenager, it works pretty well. If I don't smile, nobody truly sees anything, especially people who don't know anything about jaw surgeries. Nobody would ever notice anything. However, if I am to expose my facial features and start smiling, if you are into jaw surgery stuff, you know that something is off, and that something is my maxilla is protruded, so my face looks sunken hair, and my mandible is asymmetric, and that asymmetric mandible is causing really painful temporomandibular joint popping on one side when I open my mouth, and that has to be corrected, and the only way to correct it is through a double jaw surgery. Fixing the function of my jaws will automatically fix the joint popping issue that I have, in order for me not to have a joint replacement surgery when I'm older. A byproduct of the double jaw surgery would be a better aesthetic look. My facial balance would be more pleasing. Now, this is an interesting part. Because my case is so mild in terms of orthodontics, NHS would not take my case on, and I know it because NHS judges things based on the IOTN code, and my IOTN code is borderline 2-3, and it's not good enough to be accepted by NHS. So I started doing braces treatment privately, and at the very beginning of my journey I wanted to try and see if maybe, just maybe, NHS would accept me. So I asked my orthodontist to refer me to an NHS clinic. They came back to her stating that at the time, and that was November 2020, the waitlist to see a surgeon just for a consultation on NHS would be about a year, and my decompensation for the surgery would take about 6 months, so this discrepancy wouldn't make things work for me. I basically refused that. I thought there wouldn't be any point in it, and I decided to do things privately. So when I decided to go private, I started doing my research online, trying to find surgeon information, private surgeon information, and their pricing, and before and afters, and all that stuff, you know, as you do. And when I went online, I could not find any costs, so they had to be asked about through calling their private secretaries or email correspondence and all that. So what I did, I called one of the top rated surgeons in London and I asked for a quote, and they told me that the double jaw surgery would be £19,000 and it would not be on financing, so it would have to be paid in lump sum in one go. And I thought, oh my god, this is so much money, you know. That really deferred me from everything. It really brought me down as well, and I didn't know what to do. So I looked online, I looked on Reddit, Facebook, Instagram, and people kept saying that double jaw surgeries, single jaw surgeries would cost about 20, 25, even 30k, and that was awful. That was so much money, almost impossible to think of, taking into account the fact that I am doing the braces treatment privately as well, and that is £6,500. Thankfully, I am financing that treatment, which makes it more affordable. However, I could not imagine paying 19k in one go. It's just unheard of, especially in London where the cost of living is so high and we are in the middle of pandemic still, and you know, everything combined is just too much to even think about. My plan of action was to try and find a surgeon abroad. What I did is I tried looking in neighboring countries like Spain, Latvia, Poland, Portugal, Germany, tried to find a specialist who I could have a consultation with. And first off, pricing was available online, and that pricing was literally half of the amount that I discovered here in UK. So that was a beam of light to me personally, and I thought, okay, so there's light at the end of the tunnel and this can be feasible, you know, to do. I managed to organize a free consultation with a surgeon abroad whose quote was about 12k, and that surgeon told me that I would need a double jaw surgery. I sent all the photos, all the x-rays that I had, and had a video consultation that I didn't have to pay for, and it was a really good consultation. It was really pleasant, and the surgeon was really listening to my concerns and everything was amazing. They said that I would need a double jaw surgery and a genio. That was that. I thought, okay, I'm just gonna have to go with that route because I like the surgeon and everything was fine, and I even organized the communication between that surgeon and my orthodontist so they could talk to each other and communicate on what needs to be done in terms of movements, orthodontic movements, for the surgery to happen. What happened afterwards is I've discovered Facebook groups, jaw surgery Facebook group, and I joined 3. So on those jaw surgery groups, people kept talking about their jaw surgery experiences, and I found so many cases online where people were not happy with the results they got. They were really disappointed, and I saw a lot of commentary saying that when you are doing jaw surgery and when you are going down a private route, the best thing you can do is consult a number of surgeons, because everyone would have their own opinion, everybody's expertise would be different, and all of that. So I thought to myself, okay, since there's so many interesting cases happening and people getting disappointed about the results and all that, I thought I might as well consult another surgeon. This is where shit started to get real. I booked a consultation with a surgeon in Harley Street, and Harley Street is considered to be world-renowned street for like surgeries of various types, plastic surgeries, especially cosmetic related treatments. So I went to see one of those surgeons there, and before going to see the surgeon, I sent all the documents I had, all the x-rays, all the photos and all that, and thinking that they would read all that before I had the consultation itself. And what happened is, when I actually went there, they literally almost turned me around at the door because they saw that I had braces, and they said that they would never ever work with a patient whose orthodontist is not on their team. He literally said that he only worked with the 2 orthodontists on his team, and there's no chance in hell of him working or being open to working with somebody else. And I was like, alright, that was really weird and that was really unprofessional in my opinion, and I have a whole vlog talking about that. But luckily I got refunded the money, but what I didn't get refunded is the time that I had to take to travel there and the disappointment that I had to experience because of that. So after that, I decided to have a consultation with another surgeon. In fact, I booked a consultation with 3 more surgeons because I was like, I might as well, you know, if I like somebody else who I see earlier than the other 2 or 1, I'll just cancel the other consultation, because I know sometimes surgeons are super busy or on holiday and it's not possible to have that consultation within the time frame, within the earliest convenience. So I booked 3 consultations, and so the first one of those 3 I went to 3 weeks ago, and it was really bad as well, and it was better than the first one I've been to face to face. However, in that consultation, the surgeon was utterly unprofessional. They were really unreasonable, I think, overly negative. I think they were trying to be really cautious of what they were saying. They did not diagnose me or anything. They would just say things like, you're beautiful as you are, you don't have to do anything. In fact, if you do, the minor movements that will be made the chances of relapse will be so high that it's just literally literally like doesn't make sense for you to go through the surgery. So that was that, and that consultation really brought me down because they literally paid so much attention to the fact that jaw surgery movements will be tiny and the relapse would be high, that I've decided it would just literally be pointless doing this surgery. And you know, they said other things, like for example, my muscles being super active and that would make relapse high. They said that if they do the surgery, my skin hair would just get super old and looking ugly. And they just said all that without literally diagnosing me correctly, without being professional. They didn't check my joint problem, joint popping. They just didn't do that. They just sat like that in front of me saying, you don't need anything, like you're beautiful as you are. And that attitude to me is awful. It's utterly unprofessional, and I had to pay a lot of money for that consultation. So I came home and I literally spent a whole week until the next consultation being so sad about everything, literally regretting like this jaw surgery and everything that I've started. You know, literally nothing made sense. I stopped being excited about things, and I thought maybe I should just stop the compensation process, get the braces out, just stop everything and live with the joint pain until my joint pops off or something. You know, that was where I was at. And at that time I still had 2 consultations to go to 2 oral surgeons. So I went to see another surgeon literally a week later on a Thursday, last Thursday, and that was where things started to look up a bit. I was really pleased with the consultation I had. The surgeon turned out to be really kind, good-natured, listening to all of my concerns. He examined me properly, laid out a plan of action that made sense to me, and it was just so easy and so on a level. I appreciated that a lot. It made me feel so good. Made me feel like, you know, I'm not stupid or anything. And yeah, now I am waiting for other things to happen. I'm waiting for his report that I'll need to submit to my insurance company, and then I'll have a joint clinic appointment where my orthodontist would come to their clinic and talk to their orthodontist and himself about my case in order for them three to align on everything and proceed with the decompensation process in preparation for the double jaw surgery. So that just makes so much sense to me, and that's where I'm at. But I just wanted to make this video to show how frustrating things can be, and especially for people with mild cases like mine where things aren't visible, there's a couple things you need to be aware of. So if you have a mild borderline, almost cosmetic but not case like mine, you have to be very careful when looking for a surgeon in order not to waste your money and your time and your mental state, because not all surgeons take minor cases like ours. The majority of surgeons would only go with bad cases, bad malocclusions, where movements are pretty straightforward and easy compared to delicate movements that we have of a smaller scale. So the first step for you would be to join as many Facebook groups as you can, find an oral surgeon in your area or even outside of your area who would take on minor cases. Or if you have TMJ like myself, I would highly recommend not going to any surgeon who does not work with TMJ cases, because it is apparently very easy to mess up your joints during a jaw surgery, and if a person doesn't know much about joints, the chances of that happening get higher, and then you will have to have another surgery to fix your joints, and nobody would want that. Another thing that I would recommend is, you are at the very beginning of your journey, I would recommend not starting orthodontic work at all, because as I've learned, in the majority of cases, surgeons have a team of orthodontists they work with closely, because it's a team effort and everybody needs to be experienced in this process, specifically in working with a team of specialists where everyone is on the same page and they've been doing the same thing over and over again. That just makes everything easier. It just makes more sense to go down that route. I did the opposite. I found an orthodontist first who diagnosed me, who said that I will benefit from a jaw surgery, and I then started to look for a oral surgeon. If I was to go back, I would not go down that route. I would definitely find a jaw surgeon I would trust first, and then they would recommend orthodontists there to organize the whole plan of action there around that. Another thing I would recommend is preparing yourself mentally, knowing that this will not be easy. With mild cases like ours, you always have to prove that stuff is wrong with you, that this surgery is not aesthetic to your family, your friends, your partner, everybody around you. I can assure you would keep saying that everything is fine and you're pretty, and they will most probably disregard all of your concerns. And it's just not a great situation to be in when you always have to almost fight for yourself, you know, with cases like that, because this isn't visible. The joint pop-in isn't visible. It may be visible for people who know about jaw surgeries. For example, I've been learning about this topic for the last year or so, or even more. Like, I was in braces earlier, but for like 6 years when I was a teenager. But I really started learning about things recently. I just know things, like it takes one look at a person to know whether they have a jaw problem. Another thing I wanted to mention is try and learn as much as you can for yourself about this subject, because not all surgeons are as experienced as you may think they are. I found that sometimes I would know more, it seems, than surgeons themselves. And that may be because they wouldn't examine me properly and because I know my physiology a little bit better. I feel like knowing about jaw surgery, about various things that can go wrong and various ways to prevent them from going wrong. For example, some people don't like nose widening effect that they get from forward movement of maxilla. In order to prevent that, you'd have to have a stitch on your nose, and that would need to be discussed. And if you don't know about that, you may not even think that this may happen, and therefore you would not discuss that, and not all surgeons would mention it. And that's the downside of it, unless you fend for yourself and unless you are educated enough to ask questions like that. You may not be 100% happy with the outcomes, and yeah, it's always best to do your research as much as you can. And last thing I wanted to say is try to connect as much as you can with people who are going through the same thing. I've tried to create a community of people I am talking to on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, and it does make things way easier. I understand not everyone likes to expose themselves like that on video or on pictures, but what you can do, you can create a private account, private Instagram account, and follow as many cases where people roughly on the same timeline as you going through the same jaw surgery type. Try to read about their experiences, try to connect with them, because it does make a huge difference when there's people around you who care, because in the majority of cases you will not get many people understand you and what you're going through and what you need, and this process can be really alienating and it can make you feel like you're just going insane, and it might make you feel like you're wrong in the way you think, and you would know if something is wrong. You would feel it. If you grew up your whole life knowing that something is off, it probably is, and this process can make you doubt yourself to the extent where it can just break you, and it's not a good place to be in. And having that structure around you of people who are going through the same thing is literally the best. Anyway guys, I hope you liked my video. I'm vlogging a lot about my process, every step of the way in detail. I hope my videos are helpful and entertaining, and I hope you continue following me and subscribe to my channel and just keep up with all the updates, and I will see you soon. Thanks a lot for watching, I really appreciate it.